All right, boys, it's going to get busy here in a second.
On his command. Make ready! Platoon commanders! Fire on your command! Come to the shoulder when you're ready! Firing on your command now, Lieutenant. Come to the shoulder! Don't stay on that track too long. Go left. Make ready! Take aim! Boys, prime and loud. Come on, boys. Come on. Second platoon. Make ready. Freeze down. Prime and low. Hey, Mike. Roll your militia. Halt there for a second. Take them right through there, around the cannon. And then boys, on me! Ceasefire! Ceasefire! Make ready! Take aim! Take aim! Prime and low, boys. Prime and low. Wait for the command. Come to the shoulder when you're loaded. Wait for the command. Come to the shoulder. Holy hell. Take red! Freeze it! Second line, right here. You're right here. You're right here. No, facing this way. Facing this way. Facing the enemy. I'm leaving you for good. Yeah. Have fun. Thank you. Come on, get in line. Line. Make it safe, lads. Make it safe. Get in. Get in line. Here, I'm going to step out for a second. Prime and load. Prime and load. Make sure to slide up a little bit. We'll get you pumped in. All right. Carolina! Let's go. First go, Neckabird. Make ready! Second!
No, not us. Or I'm on the wrong side. I'm second platoon.
Take it! Elevate! Fire! Prime and low! Prime and low! First we're following, we're filling this gap, okay? We will be moving to the right to fill a gap. Second platoon. Second platoon to your right. To the right. Fill the gap. Hey. To the right. To the right. Elevate. 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 Fall back to me! Fall back! Fall back! Fall back! Go! Go! Done fighting! To the left! Get people in! First platoon on me! First platoon on me! Fire at will! Elevate! Elevate! Now elevate the fire! First platoon on me! Follow! Come! Quick! Get out of the way from me! Hold the line for these boys! Fire at will! Take it down this way! Elevate, elevate, elevate. Go! You hold! My guys, hold! Hold!
Hold! Hold!
Go, step it up.
Right here! Align! Second platoon right here! Right here! Get out of the way, guys! Hurry up! Get out of the way! Prime and load! Fire and will! Go. Elevate. Pull those guys all the way back. Yeah. I'll hold for a minute. Elevate! Fire and load! Elevate! Second platoon! Prime and load! Fire and second platoon! Fall back!
Well, a couple of our guys are on the field.
Hey there, Revere 0311, former Marine infantryman, Revolutionary War reenactor, and amateur history enthusiast, and I am down here in Greensboro, North Carolina to reenact the bloody Battle of Guildford Courthouse from March of 1781. And this video is just going to be a very simple overview. Why was the battle fought here? What led up to the battle? And how did it go? We have to remember at this time of the war, the British have focused their strategy on conquering the southern rebellious colonies to them or states to us. And this had led to the disastrous American defeats, such as the surrender of the forces at Charleston, the massacre of Waxhaws, the disastrous destruction of the American Southern Army at the Battle of Camden, in which Gates rode hundreds of miles back up to North Carolina. But then that is also followed by some minor American, there were actually some great American victories between the Loyalists, such as the American Over the Mountain Men that win the Battle of Kings Mountain, and Tarleton, who you might recognize as basically the bad guy from the Patriot. He is defeated at the Battle of Cowpens, but he does not die there. That is a patriotism. I'm going to rewrite that word, but it is what it is. So, after the British are defeated at the Battle of Cowpens, Cornwallis has a bunch of his men are taken captive by the American forces under Daniel Morgan. Cornwallis then moves out to do two things. He wants to find and destroy that American army that had just inflicted that massive defeat on his men, and two, he wants to rescue his men that have been captured. This leads to the Race of the Dan, in which that army flees north to try to get away from Cornwallis. Nathaniel Greene has come down and he has taken command of that army. Nathaniel Greene then gets back up to Virginia, and then he crosses back into North Carolina after he wins that race. That is when Greene decides he is going to face off with Cornwallis near here, Guildford Courthouse. He has been reinforced by militiamen from Virginia and North Carolina, and he also has a foundation of Continental soldiers that have a lot of combat experience. Well, a mix. The first Maryland has a lot, the second doesn't have a lot. We'll talk about that a little later. So, how he initiates the battle is that Greene moves out to find Cornwallis. He picks the land around here, Guildford Courthouse, and he has his men set up in a blocking position on the road that Cornwallis is using to head west, the New Market Road. Cornwallis then moves up. He sees that he is being blocked on the road. There are two American 6-pound cannons under Singleton facing him. He then deploys his infantry on the north and south side of the road. And I'm going to keep it simple, but these are some of the most battle-hardened veteran units in the British Army. You have the 33rd Regiment of Foot, the 23rd Regiment of Foot, the 71st Regiment of Foot, and the Von Boza Regiment. Plus, he also has Tarleton who's there, as well as German Jaegers and battalions of British Guards. And facing him are the first line, which is made up of North Carolina militia. So he deploys his men in formation and they move forward. The order for the militia, just like they had done at Cowpens, is that first line is supposed to fire 2, maybe 3 rounds, and then they're going to tactically, they're going to withdraw. They're going to withdraw back. So as Cornwallis's men are moving across these muddy fields, they're taking some pot shots and scattering of fire, but when they get to within 50 yards, Sergeant Roger Lamb says that the North Carolina militia opens up at about 50 yards. The British fire back, they move forward, and they push the North Carolinians back. And this is where the battle this is where chaos erupts, really, because as the North Carolinians fall back, the British regiments are moving through this lightly wooded terrain. So that's going to break up their formations. And this was actually picked on purpose this terrain was picked on purpose by Nathaniel Greene, because he wanted to reduce the effectiveness of the British cannon and also the British cavalry. So he has his men through these sort of rolling hills and wooded areas to reduce the British's ability to use those two elements to their greatest effect. They're still going to be used, but to their greatest effect. And then 2, it breaks up the attack. So the British then push through that first line, and they get to the second line. And that is under the command of, that is made up almost entirely of Virginia militiamen. who need to rebuild their reputation for a disastrous show at the Battle of Camden, in which they turned around and ran. That's who I'm representing, by the way. So, but at the Battle of Guildford Courthouse, the Virginia militia do such a good job of holding and fighting the British that Nathaniel Greene, in one of his dispatches after the battle, says they brought honor upon themselves. So while this is happening, the British are able to break through that second line, and then they get to the third line. At that third line is where that's going to be the Rock. And that is going to be made up of the Continental soldiers. So these are your professional veteran men that are composing that solid foundation of the Continental line. The British actually come forward and they almost show up at a not exactly on line, because remember that terrain is going to have an impact as they move through the woods. So the 33rd Regiment is going to be the first one there, and they're going to get blasted back. And then soon the rest of the British forces are going to show up. The 2nd American Brigade, during this firefight, pulls back and breaks. They're made up of inexperienced men that have only had their officers for the last few weeks. The British then start to flank that 1st Maryland Regiment. The 1st Maryland Regiment turns, and they're facing off with the 2nd Battalion of Guards. So this is the most experienced American forces in the Southern Army, and maybe in the entire Continental Army, facing off with the British Guards, who are also very experienced. And they are said to engage at such close range that the fire from their muskets overlaps. And then it turns into a melee that we don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it must have felt like forever. But those two veteran units are dropping each other at that close range. Then they close, and it turns into a very hectic and bloody melee between those forces. William Washington, not George Washington, a relative of his, is a cavalry commander, and he comes up and he also engages. This is when Cornwallis, he brings his 6-pound cannons up to engage William Washington. He opens fire on William Washington, and there are accounts that some of those, well, I'm not going to say enough because I don't really know. The correct version is that Cornwallis never orders his cannon to fire directly on his own men. That is a myth. But somewhere in the battle, cannons are fired at William Washington, and that really breaks off the American attack. The Americans then pull back, and in good order, they withdraw. They do leave behind all their cannon are captured. So the British, at the end of the day, actually hold the physical land of the battlefield. But it came at a heavy cost. They have lost over 25% of their men killed, wounded, and captured. So while they tactically win the battle, it is going to be a strategic loss for them. After this battle, Lord Cornwallis is going to take his men, and they're going to flee to Wilmington, North Carolina, because he has lost a lot of that effective fighting capability of his force. Nathaniel Greene is going to head back to North Carolina, and that is an overall view of the bloody slugfest that was the Battle of Guildford Courthouse. I hope you enjoyed that sort of overview. If you see anything you don't agree with, leave a comment down below. If you want to see more American Revolutionary War content, such as POV videos, I always post those. Just like and subscribe to the channel. I love anything American Revolutionary War, and especially historic firearms. And yeah, just wait for the videos. And until next time, have a good one.